You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's The Game After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's The Game After Show.
Woo! I love how the brown people come in with a beat. Hello out there, everybody, and welcome, welcome, welcome. Bing is for doing, and we are here doing another AFTERBUZZ TV after show for BET's The Game. Joining me today, our panel continues to change and turn into different colors and beauties and wonderfulness. And this week, I've got beauty and radiance across from me for the third week in a row. Welcome back, Miss Stanley.
Thank you.
With
Thank
her
you.
glossy ring. She's always sparkling when she is here.
Always trying to distract Courtney.
Love the red lips.
Thank you.
And then right beside her is a long lost friend. Curtis got an applause. Welcome back, Curtis Taylor.
Thanks for having me.
He's been working hard, and we missed you. Glad you could join us.
Glad to be missed.
Yes. This week, Kenny Harrison, I don't know where he is. I think he's sitting on the 405 somewhere bitter because he had to work full hours today, so he had to stay at work till 6:30, and then it turned whatever.
Hey, at least he has a job.
He might randomly call in at some point, but I would bank that he went to sleep. And Mama Isabel is feeling a little under the weather, so she will not be able to join us today. But we got Ronnie in the booth, as usual, doing his thing. I don't know if he's at a microphone to say anything, but he in there, and he'll randomly chime in.
I'm here to say hello and to talk about iTunes.
Yes,
comment,
it's so
rate.
funny
And I'm
that
so
you
excited.
led right into what I was going to, Ronnie.
Well, because if you go to the
read my
game
mind.
iTunes, like they really love them some Curtis, and now Curtis is
Yes,
back in
they
the
do.
studio. It's
Curtis
like
Do they like me on iTunes?
They like to make comments about you.
your name has been brought up, but I don't know.
They
Broughton
love
up?
and
Is that a word?
appreciate you, Broughton. They've been Broughton. You've been brung
So what
up
do they say about
a
me?
lot.
I
That
didn't.
they love you
Yeah,
in some
right,
ways.
Yeah, right.
But for those of you out there who may be a little bit confused, basically we want to remind all of our
Thin
viewers
line.
and listeners to make sure you go into iTunes, downloading us, and make sure you're making comments and rating our shows, because that helps us, and we want to continue to do great shows for you guys. And of course, the comments always help me and give me inspiration for things to do in the show. So I appreciate you. I thank you guys for listening, and just keep it up on iTunes and on YouTube, but definitely on iTunes.
Absolutely.
So we had a fun little, well, I don't know. I didn't say fun. I was kind of bored
Yeah, it
this
was
week.
just
Yeah,
just a
it's an
basic
okay
episode. It's a
episode.
basic
I was kind
episode.
of bored this week. So, okay, obviously every week we try to go around, give first impressions. I kind of gave mine away. Go ahead, Stanley, what you got this week? How you felt about the episode?
Well, I mean, the only reason why I loved it so much is how it started off. I love seeing Malik passed out and TT and Tasha kicking him. But other than that, it kind of was a little bit.
A little bit normal.
a little bit
yeah.
normal.
Yeah, it was normal. I mean, a lot of times, the game is all over the page, and you have something to talk about. You say, "Oh, I don't like this," or "I like this," but it was just one of those things where they kind of played it safe this week.
Yes.
So it was a little bit normal for me.
Yeah. I was a little bit disappointed just because last week I feel like we got this sort of introduction of Melanie's mess, and I thought we were going to get some goodies this week, and I feel like it fell very flat.
Yeah.
So I wasn't that impressed. And it also sort of made me think of, I read an article from Mara Bracca-Kill. She was interviewed about the upcoming
Yes,
season,
that's right.
and she was sort of talking about where she wants to go with the show and introducing all these new things and making it not so much about just football. And it worried me what she was saying, and then I kind of felt like this episode was only a further reflection of where this is going, and I don't know if I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get more specific and talk about what really went down this week. We're going to start off. We had 3 great storylines sort of running this week. Starting out with Malik, as Ms. Stanley said. We opened the episode with him laid out on the floor, drunk and passed out.
Great
and
camera angles, by the way.
That was
they
fun.
had like that bird's eye view looking straight down.
with big
They're
Tasha, especially
working
when Tasha's like standing right there and she just kind of looked like the massive giant
Yeah,
ready to
I
like
loved it,
stomp on
loved
him.
it.
That was good.
So you like the storylines? You said great.
I didn't say I like the story.
Well,
I
you
mean,
said
I'm
great.
trying to be positive, Curtis.
I
I try to
just-
keep it
listen.
positive until we get into
But
criticism.
That
but
is a big thing. Malik falling off the wagon.
So we have
Yeah.
one great storyline then.
Let's take them as we come.
We'll take it one at a time. So I guess you are articulating that you are not pleased
Well, no,
with the
I mean,
storyline,
I'm
perhaps?
just sticking to what I said. I mean, I think they're normal. So we
they're
had some
normal?
normal episodes, storylines. Nothing really jumped out at me. Even the kicking part. I mean, it was cool, I guess.
I feel like it was supposed to be funnier than it actually
exactly,
came off. Like it
exactly,
just wasn't the
exactly.
funny that I was hoping for.
Yeah.
And then as we proceeded through his sort of storyline this episode, and it turns out, so he gets drunk at the bar in the hotel. He apparently was with the owner, which was confusing to me because isn't that still the dude's wife?
Exactly.
Like that was weird to me. But
Right.
okay, fine. And and the fact that that wasn't even addressed.
That's
Well,
what
he
I was
addressed it a little
bothersome.
bit. He was like, "Why would I be having drinks with him?" He said
guess.
that, but he didn't go into.
I see
you
what
know.
you're saying. You're probably thinking, why didn't he ever be like, oh my God, did I
Yeah,
tell him
like
that?
it should have
What
been
did
a little.
I say to him about,
I think it should have been a little bit more. So we sort of, because that
Suspense,
relationship was
keep
not,
it
and I get it's business because at this point, Quan, we find out obviously Quan is out for the season,
Yeah.
so Malik is in, and then it comes to this supposed dramatic moment of Malik realizing that the connection with his drunkenness
Drunkenness.
is pressure.
Yeah, which is interesting to me because
I just don't. I don't know.
well, generally in football, those kind of meetings
yeah.
they're done in the office. So it's kind of interesting that they
Randomly
would
at
have that
the bar.
Yeah, randomly he would drop something like, "Hey, you're going to be playing for the entire season."
You think so?
At the bar.
I don't know. I've known a couple athletes and I've known a lot of musicians, and I'm kind of weirded out about how the industry is so informal, and they do have somewhat meetings in informal places, and that's what leads to all those things. So
Not the owners. The owners generally call the players into their office. Coaches maybe in a bar, or maybe
I know what you're saying,
but owners generally are there. They're strictly business, and it's like, can we have a meeting in the office and.
because I mean it can happen because technically that's his home, Malik's
Yeah,
home.
that's
That's
where he
downstairs.
lives.
So sometimes
Yeah,
like,
because he lives in the hotel.
a last
upstairs.
minute thing, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, I'm going to stop by real
Yeah.
quick and tell you.
Tell-
Because
that-
breaking
that's-
news nowadays, like information comes out so quickly
Yeah.
that you can't wait till the next morning sometimes.
Or So you pick
because
up-
things are out on Twitter, things are out.
I don't know. It
in
just
the
seemed
news.
kind of weird. It
And
seemed
I
kinda
agree.
weird.
I agree that
seemed
it was
kinda
somewhat weird, and
Yeah.
I mean they didn't address the relationship to begin with,
Yeah.
and then it was kind of like, and for me the story fell flat when
Yeah.
we come to this. It's supposed to be this epiphany, like, oh no,
Yeah,
I am
that's-
stressed about whatever, and it just wasn't. It was
No.
kind of like, that's lame.
No.
Like,
They allowed the music to do the talking pretty much.
but
music was great.
You thought the music was great?
I love that.
I didn't
that
even
little
remember what was playing at the time. Like nothing made
look
me.
into. I
Nothing
think
moved
it's
me
not-
about
it's not
that.
track.
Oh well.
I love the track.
Well, it is what it is. We finally got Malik kind of, because he's sort of been on hiatus for a few episodes in terms of story. Like he'll
Right,
randomly
so-
pop in with a few lines, but story-wise, he hasn't gone anywhere. So he kind of went somewhere this week. So I'm sure something great will happen next week.
And I think it's important also too to bring this up because last week was all focused on Tasha and choosing herself.
Yes.
So she chose herself in her love life, but then it's showing in this show that her son is always going to be a problem for her choosing herself. So I think it was kind of trying to tie into that, what is Tasha going to do
They
with
brought that
Malik
in,
the
too.
mess?
See, I think that through interpretation we get that, but through actual show, the meat
they-
was not
Wasn't
there.
so much.
Like they
It wasn't
didn't draw,
meaty,
they
yeah.
didn't give us those which is why I feel like the episode felt light because it
Right,
didn't
right.
really make the connections that it should have.
Yeah.
But I would have.
That's what
So
we're here for,
That's
to
what we're
finish it
here
off
for,
for
to finish
them.
it off for them. Maybe they'll take some hints and do better next time. Anyway, so speaking of Tasha dealing with her things and coming to the revelation that she perhaps is a little bit unhappy too because Miss Melanie decides during this episode that she is. Well, she didn't decide this episode. I guess she decided last episode that she's unhappy, but this episode she needed to share it with everybody.
Everyone.
I'm falling on Kenny's train at this point in time, and I feel like I'm so done with Melanie and Derwin and their whole situation. Like I'm
And
over it.
Derwin, why you have to throw Derwin into
Because
the pot?
he's a
Well,
part
be-
of it, and I hate him all.
Melanie's
Well, I mean,
I'm over it.
Are we going to talk about the
Go
Melody situation?
ahead. Go ahead.
You know, in this particular portion of her argument, I say good for her. I mean, it's one of those things where
Good for her.
yeah, good for her that she's actually standing up for herself and say, look, you know, I want to go back to school. I want to go back to school. I want
Okay.
to finish my education. I think she should have did it earlier. But the thing is that, I mean, my personal belief is that Derwin is the one that's being selfish in this.
Interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the thing is that she just wants to go back and further education. What's wrong with that?
No, she doesn't
Well,
want
it's
to
not
just
just
go
further.
back and further her education.
Well, she wants to go back and finish
go
school.
across the country
Okay,
years.
so what's wrong with
for
that?
years. To,
Okay, well,
okay, so you
there's
get
nothing wrong with
married.
that. Uh-huh.
It's not about anything being wrong with it. It's about you've decided, you have chosen, and you have made the choice of responsibility that I'm responsible in a marriage situation.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You get married on a certain level based on a certain set of rules that you guys have agreed to. He didn't agree to a long distance relationship for years at a time.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, it's not that she can't finish her education and become a doctor in
Right,
San Diego.
right.
so you think
She's making it about Johns Hopkins, and that's not fair to anybody.
So do you think if she would say, "Okay, I'll finish my education in San Diego," he wouldn't have a problem with that?
I don't think he would. I mean, the main
No.
thing is she's leaving for years, and then she's going to say at the end of the show, and I don't have a problem if it's without you. And she made this decision in what, like a week's time? And she didn't even go through with him. Okay, well, you know, if I'm away, you know, it has to be a decision between the two of you. She's always telling Derwin, oh, you make decisions without me. You make decisions without me. And then here she is setting a good example by making this huge decision without him.
Well, I mean, he didn't. I think I guess it goes back to the meat of the story. I mean, he could have just went ahead and said, "Well, why don't you get your education in San Diego?" And then I would have known whether she
Well,
would
I
disagree
think-
with that or not. Because I don't know. Like, we can speculate that
course.
you know
He'd be
she,
okay with
yeah,
it
he wouldn't. Or
I don't
he'd be
know
okay
if he'd
with
be
it,
okay
but we
with
don't
it, but I
know.
think he'd be more willing to deal with it.
See, and that's why I think they should have had that in discussion. Like somehow Derwin should have said, "Well, why don't you just stay here and get your education? You know, how come you have to go to John Hopkins?" And she said, "Well, that's what I want to do." Then I would say, "Okay, she's selfish, and you know, she just wants to do what she wants to do."
But
I
don't
can
you-
make that argument, but the thing is that I kind of got the vibe that Derwin doesn't really want her to actually advance herself. And the thing is,
I think Melanie is treating this like she's buying shoes. And on that note, if you need to buy some shoes right
Yes.
now, you can go to Amazon. And the best way to go to Amazon and shop for shoes is to actually go through the AFTERBUZZTV.com website. And there's a banner on there for you to click for Amazon. And you can click through and go to Amazon just like normal. Just go to our website first, click on the banner that says Amazon, and then you can shop for all the shoes you want. Melanie probably does the same thing on a regular basis because I think she watches AfterBuzz TV. But
that's
anyway,
cool. We do commercials.
going
now,
back to that.
we do commercials. Now?
Yeah, that's what we got to make sure Amazon gets in there because Amazon's awesome and they do great things.
Yeah,
and they keep
Amazon
our
is-
lights on.
Amazon is awesome.
So, but I think that was his issue more. I think the reason that we don't get anywhere in the story is because when Melanie brought it, she presents it as if this is it. It is
Concrete.
Johns Hopkins that has ruined my life. The choice that I made about that ruined my life, and it's your fault.
No, but he didn't make a counter argument about her staying. Like,
Okay, well,
like, it's
even
one of
if
those things.
he
Like, if
didn't,
I'm in a situation and my wife says, "Hey, I want to go to New York to finish my education," and I want her to stay home, I'll say, "Look, I'm okay with you getting your education, but just stay here and do it." And if she says, "Oh, I want to go to New York, whether you like it or not," then I'm like, then I would do what Derwin did. But the thing is that we don't. That's
You're
why.
right.
That's the
Okay.
problem I have about this particular episode is because there's not enough information to go off of, so it leads to arguments like this.
No, we can because we can. Okay, we don't know what Dermot would have said, so let's leave that part out of it. But what would you do if your wife didn't even bring you into the decision of going back to school?
Well,
At all.
let me tell you something. If I'm a wealthy man, or I'm a man that has money to where I can take care of my family,
Okay.
and my wife says, "Okay, Curtis, I want to go back to school."
Out of state.
No. If she says she wants to go back to school, first thing that's gonna come out of her mouth is okay. And if she says out of state, I'm like, why do you want to go out of state? How come you can't do it here? That's my whole point. He didn't, like, that argument wasn't there.
No,
so
I
it's
know, I
like,
understand, but I'm asking you,
it
do you
just didn't
think it was
seem
wrong
realistic.
for her to
What didn't
just
seem
say,
realistic?
this is what I'm doing without asking him and including him in the decision. That's what we were trying to say.
I know, I understand what you're trying to say, but it's just the argument wasn't realistic to me.
Okay.
Well, I
Because
think
in
that
any situation, if you tell me you're going to do something, and I disagree with it, then I'm going to have a counter argument. I'm not going to say, no, you stay your tail here, because then it sounds as if I'm being possessive.
Well, I think in the end, and maybe from the writer perspective, I think that maybe they're trying to show like the disintegration of their relationship and that there's some things that are not there that should be there to begin with. And I think that they only prove that. And in terms of them choosing not to have him make an argument with her, I think it kind of comes from the fact that, I don't know if you saw last week's episode when she first introduced this idea, she said the root of her issue was that she left her opportunity to go to Johns Hopkins to be with him. Now, the reason that was so monumental was because Johns Hopkins occurred like first. Like it was the predecessor to like the series. It was like, I chose to do that. We moved out here as boyfriend and girlfriend. We've broken up since then. There have been years we've been apart. I've chosen to do other things and gone to medical school out here. And then we got back together and then we got married. So it almost invalidated that
Their
entire
whole
choice to get married.
Absolutely.
So I think that it's sort of, from at least my guess as to why they didn't make Derwin sort of give her any pushback, is because it's one of those things like somebody literally
random.
it's like dropping
random.
a house on you.
It's like random.
Are you joking? Like that's like real old news.
Yeah.
And you're bringing it back as if I've done this to you, which no, you were of complete sound mind at that point.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
my child wasn't involved at that point. Like nothing.
I wasn't
like,
even involved at that point.
Exactly. Like that was your decision. You decided you were okay with us coming out here and trying to start our lives and that you would start your medical career here. So I think that that's sort of where they maybe were trying to go with that. And that's why we didn't get the argument in the debate. But I just don't think it was well executed.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Because I wanted more. Like I needed some more. That was like, that's a major
Yeah, and
thing.
it
You're
just came
married
at
and
the
you
end.
just decide, guess what? I don't care. I'll go by myself.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Don't you guys do that anyway?
I go to the mall by myself. I go shop on Amazon by myself. Like, I'm not gonna just be like, peace out.
Yeah.
You're married. Like, and I'm definitely independent, like woman, you should be able to do what you want to do. But my personal belief is once you decide to get married, you lost that ability to say it's just me.
And I
Like,
think it's
But
funny
they
that you
don't-
said
but that's the
Derwin was
thing.
being selfish, because I almost thought he was being really selfless because he didn't argue. Because even at the end when she said it again and he just brought the suitcase, I mean, yeah, that's kind of like an asshole type of move. But he was like, okay, that's going to make you happy.
you really
do it.
like Derwin.
Exactly. Because, I mean, my thing is, I mean, you can speculate what, who's who or what attitude someone, he's an asshole or she's an asshole. But the reality of it is that the script didn't lend to any of these arguments. I mean, it's kind of
Yeah,
one of
it
those things
does.
where
I mean, we have to kind of see it how we see it.
I wish they would have played itself out. Maybe, like you said last week, she presented it. Maybe they could have played it off for 2 weeks. Like, just play it out. Like, play the whole argument
Well, we
thing
don't know.
out.
I mean, because she left, but then she's a sunbeam again at the end of the episode. So it's kind of like, where were you going with? Like, I don't
Yeah,
know
that's
what
my
they're
whole
doing.
thing.
Like,
That's
and
my
it's-
whole thing, is
That's
like-
why I'm over them and their story. It's
Well,
not
I'm over-
working.
yes,
like,
yeah.
it's weird. I don't know
but
what they're doing.
They could have made their storyline a little bit better. I mean, it's
could have made 'em all
I mean,
better.
well, but it's so that one was kind of easy. I mean, it's an easy thing. Like, cause that was like that's a natural issue. It's not even a football thing. It's like if a person, says, "Hey, I'm going to the North Pole," and they're married, someone's gonna say, "No, why? Why? I mean, write
Well, I
that.
mean-
Just write that down. You could actually
no,
write.
not in
I mean,
their
they have 20, what is it, like
relationship.
22,
I think-
23
well,
episodes?
Like we had said,
Knowing Melanie, you can't really argue her on this one.
No,
Like,
no,
when
but you
she
can
made
really
up her
ask
mind-
why.
But I think it's beyond that, and I think that's what they want us to believe. Like, it's gotten to the point their relationship is such a true mess, and
But
it
they
was
don't
built,
discuss
and
anything.
they're learning that it was built on nothing.
Yeah.
Like it was built on like absolutely nothing
Well, they're two different
they're two
people.
different people. She's basically lied and suppressed things in herself
Yeah.
to make it be okay in
Right.
his world, and so the person that she's been presenting to him has been dishonest from jump. So I think that's sort of their way of.
that
making
sounds like
materialize.
a basketball wife type of thing.
I mean, I don't. All I know.
I know a basketball wife that kind of did that.
Who?
Where she took like $10 million from one of the athletes
No,
and was
no.
If
clocking
you
and
talk
spinning.
about
No,
Shawnee,
no,
That was-
we're
that
not
was
even
night and day. That was like I mean, that was cold-blooded.
That was not cold-blooded. They have multiple children together. They were together for years.
Yeah, but she was putting money off to the side.
That's
anyway,
alleged still.
that's alleged,
Alleged? Come
number
on,
one,
man.
and I think she would have been stupid had she not. So, but that's
Really?
another conversation to
Really?
have
So you don't
because
think-
we have
okay.
to complete this episode, and then we can come back to that.
So you
What
think
else?
Melanie needs to be stashing some?
Some sessions.
No. You just said that, I don't know anymore.
Everybody's relationship is very specific. Curtis has got to marinate.
No, just because that happened before. I mean,
It is
basketball
what it
wives and
It is
NFL
what it
wives, they
is.
kind of do that kind of.
You can't generalize.
stuff.
You can't generalize. Everybody's different. Nobody's better. I know lots of athletes' wives that are completely educated and have
No,
their
no,
own
no, I'm not
career.
saying- I'm
no,
not
what
saying
I'm
they're
saying is
not
have their own careers, have their own money, and that kind of thing is never an issue. It depends on who you marry. Maybe people should make better choices about who they
Absolutely,
marry.
absolutely, I agree.
So, moving on, speaking of marriage, our other married couple in this episode had an interesting interaction this episode. So, Jason is basically jealous because Chardonnay,
Chardonnay.
it annoys me, has to like flirt
Why does that
at the bar.
annoy
I don't
you?
know. It's just after
name.
last week's episode, it just irks me because I like what they want to do with that character, and I just hate what they did specifically last week. This week I wasn't so bothered, and I'm buying into Brandy even more as the season goes on. Like I think she's gotten better.
Yeah.
From a performance basis, anyway. And they're cute. Whatever. I get it. But anyway, so she's flirting, getting her tips. Jason comes in. He's jealous, stupid. Whatever.
You think he's being stupid?
I think he's being stupid, and I hate it. It's so annoying.
That's what
I
dudes
think-
do, though.
And so I think that like at the end, being a girl, like of course you're gonna walk over like, okay, honey, like it's cute in a way, but the bottom line is, boo, I gotta pay my rent, and you knew I did this before, and I'm not a stripper, I'm a bartender.
I know,
like,
but that's what dudes do. Dudes kind of do that kind of crazy stuff.
I kind of thought she was out of line though.
you. Oh, what?
Yes, I
Really?
did for sure.
Really?
When
No.
he first came to the bar, okay, yeah, you gotta flirt, you gotta get your tips, you gotta whatever, but you still address your man. You know what I'm saying? And she literally just was like, "Oh, what's up, Bubba?" and just went back to and kind of ignored him. So you go and kiss him too. Or, and make him feel special, and then go back to flirting and getting your tips. But I think she totally kind of just brushed him off like whatever.
I think she said what up to him like she always does, and he just got offended because this time there happened to be other people at the
Yeah.
bar, and like she said, this is a game I'm playing. This is not me. This is
Yeah.
not what I do. This is what I do for my job. So I'm not going to do the same thing to you. I'm not putting you in the category with these other men. You're
Yeah.
more than that.
Yeah.
You stay over here. Why are you even in here to begin with, first of all?
Well, men do that anyway, though.
Go
Like
checking up
we'll
on their
like
girls.
I mean, I hate to say this, but we'll like meet a girl. She's wearing, tight clothes. Her breasts are hanging out.
And everything's
love that.
grand.
And we're like, oh, she's so hot. And then we'll start dating her, and then all of a sudden we want her to put her clothes on.
Yeah, what's wrong with y'all?
I don't know. It's one of those things where,
You want to see the goods until you get it. Then when you got it, you don't want nobody else
you
to
don't want
see
anybody
it.
else to see it.
But Courtney-
That's
Exactly.
fair. I'm not mad at that.
I mean, no,
I'm
that's
not mad at
essentially
that.
what's happening.
I know.
That's
I'm not
essentially what's
mad at it.
happening. So you got to be mad. I mean, you
I'm
just said you were mad at it.
I'm mad at it only because in the end, it's not her like flouncing around just to be cute. She's making her living, and
Well,
he
yeah,
was
she
messing
explained
with
that to him.
That's
and
what
he
my issue was.
Kind
with
of
it.
came around,
Yeah.
but don't you think that
That's-
most women would have been mad if he didn't get jealous?
I mean, I'm not saying
No,
he
some
shouldn't
dudes-
have gotten jealous. My issue was when he made them go away, because in the end, those are probably regulars. They're gonna know
Yeah.
now, like, I'm not gonna mess with you, Jason Pisswhite.
Yeah,
Like, because
yeah.
it's not like he's regular dude around the corner. Like, everybody knows
Yeah.
who he
Right.
is
Yeah.
and whatever. So I think he kind of screwed with her money a little too much on that.
Yeah,
but that's
they
just
played with
my-
her money. I think he should
But
have
I
just gone ahead
don't
and
not understand it. Like, I get it.
And the main thing, and we have to address this, please, please, please. She is the one that did not say "I love you" back
It's
in the last episode.
Funny that you would say that,
Mm.
because that's going to be our special topic. So real quick, we're going to hit a commercial break, and then we'll come right on back.
AfterBuzz TV.
Hi, I was once like you, a lazy, angry loner whose only joy was watching TV and surfing the net. And like you, after I'd see one of my favorite TV shows, I'd be so excited and have so many questions that I'd actually have to talk to my douchebag coworkers about it at the water cooler. Then I discovered AfterBuzzTV.com. AfterBuzz TV produces after-show webcasts and podcasts for TV series of all kinds, like post-game wrap-up shows for all your favorite TV shows. AfterBuzz TV hosts are industry insiders who break down episodes of shows, take calls from fans, and interview cast and crew from each series, with over 60 different after shows, from Boardwalk Empire to American Idol to Vampire Diaries to Real Housewives, and more. Now, after a night of TV, I can ignore my stupid coworkers, who I hate, and go straight to my desk and watch or listen to all my favorite AfterBuzz TV after shows, and have all the TV fan interaction I need. Thank you, AfterBuzz TV.
AfterBuzz TV. What do you want to buzz about?
She don't know about that. She's gonna be worried about you, and she ain't gonna want to sit next to you. Welcome back, everybody. This is AfterBuzz TV for BET's The Game. We were just talking about Curtis and his goats. For those of y'all remember, a couple months ago we had an interesting conversation about love and goats, but this week we're gonna have an interesting conversation about love and I love you. And is it really that big of a deal if they don't say it back?
No, it's not.
You got an opinion on that, Miss Nadia Stanley?
Oh my God, of course.
So you think it's okay?
I mean, to tell you the truth, I've never said I love you first, but I would definitely think that if I said I love you to someone and they were just like, okay, cool, we have problems.
Really? See, this is where
whoa,
this
whoa,
is no.
okay.
Let me
I
say,
really hear this. Like, we see this all the time. This has been on Sex and the City. It's been on like lots of shows. Like, it's always this relationship thing. Like,
Right.
I said I love you first. I don't even remember who says I love you first in the relationships I've been in, and I haven't cared. So I just don't. And maybe it's because I'm actually not on the receiving end of the I love you. I don't actually know because I've never paid attention. But it's never been something that I'm sitting here like, I want to say I love you, but he hasn't said it first, or he said it and I'm not ready to say it back. Like, it's never. So I never understood how this is really something that people
Sets
pay
off
that much of
people.
attention and sets them off and makes them like panic, like, oh, he didn't say it back.
yeah.
Or she didn't
Why
say it
would
back.
you? Why would you, Stanley, have an issue with you saying I love you to someone and they're not saying it back if they don't feel that way?
Well, I mean, you don't know they don't feel that way. That's an assumption. And I wouldn't want to assume as far as just because you didn't say it back in that moment that you don't. But it does cause so many insecurities. I mean, if you're saying I love you, that is putting your feelings out there, which is a scary thing for some people, not everyone. And then if someone doesn't reciprocate it, then you do start questioning, does this person love me? Should I have said it at this time? And it starts, the wheels are churning, and that's when problems can start to arise. So I'm not saying that she should have said it back. I'm just saying, of course, there's going to be a shift now in the relationship. And maybe this is why Jason is feeling a little bit insecure and worried about flirting and all these different things. I think that's very natural.
See, I just think if a person doesn't love you at that particular time,
Then
they
that's
shouldn't have
cool.
to lie about it. I mean,
I don't think they
no.
should.
And you shouldn't feel slighted because someone doesn't say they love you at that particular time that you decide that you want to tell them that you love them. I mean, people love at their own pace.
Sure.
And if you tell someone and you love them, well, you love them. I love you, not do you love me? It's I love you. Okay, well, if I don't respond to that, then I'm clearly telling you at this particular juncture, I don't feel the same way. I may care about you. I may like you a lot, but I'm not at the same space as you are. And you should be okay with that.
No, but not saying that you're not okay with that, but that does, just like you said, that shows a difference. And now you have to address that difference. And
There are differences in situations like that because if you tell me you love me and I don't tell you, I mean, there is a difference. I like you a lot, you love me. I mean, so that is a noticeable difference.
I don't know. I think it's very easy to say when you're on the other end. But if you take it and look at it from a different perspective, of course that you could see why that breeds insecurity. Doesn't mean it should breed insecurity. But
I really don't think a guy would be insecure if he tells a girl he loves her and she says, I'm not ready yet. I'm not in the same space.
People tweet us in. I want to hear.
I would love to know.
I want to hear.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah, because
that shocks
Because
me.
my thing is this, is that if a person doesn't love me and I love them, it's not going to make me feel insecure. It's going to make me say, you know what? They don't love me at this particular point, but I'm going to get them to fall in love with me. It, to me, is one of those things. I'm thinking maybe it's because I'm a man, or maybe it's because I'm Curtis.
Beat them with a bat.
Maybe it's
until
because.
they love
But
him.
my thing is that for me it would be like a personal challenge for me to get that person to love me like I love them.
A challenge. So now it's just about getting. So
No.
then you're
I
focused
just
on
said
it,
no.
but
I just said it would be a personal challenge to me you know, I didn't say that, you know, that's my only focal point is to challenge myself. But it's just one of those things where I'm like, okay, they don't love me at this particular point. So, you know, maybe I need to do a little bit more things to get them to love me like I love them. But I'm okay with them not loving me at that particular. I much rather. Here's the thing. No matter what I do in a relationship, I much rather the person tell me honestly whether I'm a good lover or whether I'm good to them, whether they love me. I want them to be honest with me. I don't want them to say, "Hey, am I a great lover?" And they say, "Yeah, you are." And the reality of it is they can't stand
and that's what I'm saying.
having sex with me.
And I'm not saying you, but a lot of people say that. But when
I
that
hate
really
that.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say taking it to sex is a little different.
No. Even love is deep. Love is deep. Sex is deep. It's all
I mean, love itself. Like, I think it's strange that people freak out about the "I love you" thing, because the bottom line to me is that love is action. So if you are acting and behaving as someone that is loved and that is loving and showing love to somebody else, then the love is there. Saying it doesn't make it the case. So I personally think that people that freak out about it when they don't hear it back or whatever, their insecurity is actually about the fact that they don't actually know what love is to begin with, and they're too caught up in what other people think about love for them to be expressing it to begin with, which is why they feel nutty when they're like, shit, I don't know it back, because it's about what's been happening with you guys.
It's a natural emotion that a lot of people have, not everyone, but it's not whether you should or you shouldn't feel that way. A lot of people do. So
I'm just saying, give me some time. Like I'm the type of person like, you know what? Give me some time. If I'm not there, I'm like, look, Ma, I'm not there. And you know, you have to respect. I like you, and sometimes it's better to be liked than just to be loved.
Of course, but Chardonnay didn't even really.
I'd much rather the girl like me than because there's people you love a lot of. No. Let me tell you something. Hold on. You love a lot of people in life.
No,
you
don't.
No,
That's
you do.
the problem.
You love your mother. You love your siblings. You love a lot of people in life.
But are you in love with a lot of people?
There's a difference. There's a difference between being in love and
sure there is.
loving someone.
Right.
Well, I think relationship-wise, that is what the expression is.
But here's the thing.
Taken as.
But here's the novel concept. Well, let me tell you something. Here's a novel concept. When people are together and they say they love that person, I could, I don't like you, but I love you, and they stay together based on the fact that they just love that person. I'd much rather the person say, I like you a lot and I like being around you. To me, that's better than someone saying, I love you, but they can't stand to be around you. I much rather someone like me and want to hang out with me and want to be around me than someone says, I love you, and they want to go hang out with their friends and want to go be someplace else, but they love me and they're in a relationship, in a committed relationship with me. They're not going to cheat on me. They come home every day, but they can't stand me, but they love me.
You're kind of saying what Courtney's saying. Actions of love is stronger
than
the
what
word.
the word actually means.
This is why Jason kind of has a right to be insecure with Chardonnay, because that just happened. In my opinion, he's kind of feeling a little insecure, and then now he comes to the bar, and all of a sudden he sees her flirting with all these good looking, because I believe that was Bryce White.
I was gonna ask. Oh my God, was it Bryce? He looks a little bit thinner in the face. That's why I wasn't sure if it was him.
Looking very good.
Mm-hmm.
He's still got those heavy brows.
Now it's the actions that he's not seeing, so that's why he's a little insecure, and
that's why I go back to the actionness again, because the end of all of that is pride and ego, and it has absolutely nothing to do with love.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Because if he recognizes love, her actions of being with him and trying to make it work with him and all of that shit has nothing to do with her flirting to get tips at work. Absolutely nothing about her feelings for him.
And I can see if she took the guy's number and she's calling a dude after hours.
Playing with them on Facebook.
Exactly.
We have to go based on what we have.
That's different.
Right, but he doesn't know that yet, and that's why I think it's totally fair for him to come
all up in her house all the time. Like, she has shown nothing that shows that I'm doing something shady.
But I think it's great when people question things.
Absolutely.
I think it's great that you see something that's kind of, instead of holding it in and start making your own assumptions, you bring it to the table. And Jason, questioning is one thing.
Bringing down the hammer is two different things.
Exactly. And I feel like he brought down the hammer in that situation a little bit hardcore.
Because I'm cool with someone questioning, why don't you love me? I mean,
or like, why are you flirting?
Why are you flirting?
And
she explained it, and he say if he loves her like he says he does, and that trust should come along, with that.
But that's what they were trying to show. Jason's love is connected to money always. So now that he's paying his bill and he's gonna buy bottle service, that's love.
He's had a breakthrough.
He needs to figure out, like you say, he needs to figure out how to love.
Well,
it's two different things.
Either way, we all want to love. And to remind you all out there, it's Mother's Day this weekend. So make sure you show love to your mothers. And you can go to Amazon to do that. But on that note, we're going to roll over to some news and gossip for the week.
AfterBuzz TV News.
I should actually have had this up. Okay, this week it's been, the 18th week of the game. They had a little bit of drop in ratings. I give it every week. They were at a 1.0, 18 to 49 demographic. They did pretty well. Still kind of dropped, like the NBA Finals and Deadliest Catch, like beat them out again. But they've been renewed, so it's all good regardless. And we have not quite a bit, but a little bit of brown people news this week. That's kind of interesting.
Brown People Edition.
So cute. Okay, so we got a couple biopics in the works. Andre 3000 has been selected to play Jimi Hendrix in the upcoming biopic All Is By My Side. The production begins shooting this June in Ireland.
Great choice.
I thought it was a great choice. I'll be interested to see if he can carry a whole movie sort of solo, but I think in terms of the artist himself, he could do a good job. You don't look excited, Curtis.
No, I know when you were saying a great pick, I was trying to figure out, if it was a great pick. I'm not the person to say great pick. I had to think about other actors.
Visually and from an artistic perspective of his musical work, I could see it being the case. Acting-wise, I don't know.
Now that I think about it.
He's done well in smaller things that he's done so far. I don't know if he can carry a whole movie, but we'll see.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Now that I think about it, that's what I was doing. I was searching my mind.
You're marinating. I got you.
Go.
That's
what I do.
All right. So another biopic in the works. Newcomer Chadwick Boseman is taking on the lead in 42, the biopic of famed baseball legend Jackie Robinson. Actor John C. McGinley is joining to play Red Barber, an iconic radio broadcaster for the Brooklyn Dodgers, and along with them are Harrison Ford, Nicole Bahari, and Ryan Merriman as co-stars. So we got a pretty new dude who's done very little. I think he's done like one thing that I just meant to remember and I didn't type it down, and he is leading the Jackie Robinson biopic that's funded pretty well. So
that's great.
Congratulations. It's a cool story to tell. I'm glad they're finally telling it again, because I think they've done like a TV movie.
And I'm glad that they're giving new actors.
That's why. I mean, it's like I've never heard of him, and I IMDb. I'm like, who is this guy? So good for him. Congratulations.
Great for him.
And on the Latino/Latina news front, we've got ABC News and Univision News have just announced a landmark agreement. The multi-platform joint venture will be a 24/7 network described as America's first English language channel for English dominant and bilingual Hispanics, as well as integrated digital and social platforms. It will deliver news content focused on issues, lifestyle interests, and culture of importance to Hispanics, and will feature the trusted award-winning journalists of ABC News and Univision News. Now, for the first time, U.S. Latinos will have a choice for uncompromising coverage of current events and lifestyle with a Latino perspective in English.
Caliente.
So go them. That's kind of a big deal for a news platform. So congratulations, and hopefully there'll be some more Hispanic reporters getting some new gigs and good things happening.
Some good money.
In English.
Telling us some stories that maybe aren't being told, because you know what? I was watching CNN or listening to CNN because I'm in the car a lot, and I just realized like it's getting as bad as listening to the radio. Like the same four news stories. One day the four stories were like the Trayvon Martin case, the something about Mitt Romney, and something about like one other person. And I was like, is this really the only news in the world that we have to talk about? Is this over the course of a day?
And entertainment news keeps on creeping.
And there's always
CNN.
like it's news regular. So anyway, thank you. That would be our news and gossip for today at the game. And now we're gonna move over to some predictions.
And now your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right, so we're gonna predict like next week. We got, what are we on? 16, technically 17. So we got like 5 episodes left. What you got for us, Miss Stanley?
Well, my prediction, and I'm gonna stay true to myself, Team Derwin. I think Melanie's gonna go off, gonna make a quick decision and leave. But I do believe everyone assumes that Derwin is gonna go crazy and possibly cheat or go buck wild. But I believe that he's gonna finally. He's in his place where he's grown up, and he's going to be a good man.
He's grown up.
And then they might even bring Melanie back. She realized that it's not Johns Hopkins, it's Derwin she loves. Something dramatic.
God. What you got, Curtis?
No, I think, Melody's going to leave. She's going to leave the show for a few episodes, take care of her baby.
In real life.
Being John Hopkins.
Being Johns Hopkins.
And then Derwin's going to get to the point where, he's going to say, I really love her, and he's going to go after her, and he's going to
I like that story better.
win her over, and he's going to bring her back home, and she's going to come back home and they're gonna fight and the same little situation that they had the last
before.
time. Exactly.
Here's the deal. I don't care what's going to happen because I'm over it.
Okay.
But if I were writing the show, what I would want to happen is for her to go to Johns Hopkins and realize it's stupid. And for her to come back and find out Derwin had
He
hooked back
doesn't
up with his
want
baby
her.
mama. And he realized, guess what? I wasn't in love with you. I was infatuated with you because we were together in college and it seemed like things we were supposed to be together. The reality is I want my family now. You're screwed. And there we will have drama. And there would be honest drama of something that could happen that would be more interesting than the bullshit that is happening right now. Sorry. That was just my anger. But I'm really annoyed that she's actually going to leave.
Yeah,
And
I
I just hate, and it makes me not like her character at all because it just seems stupid and
I agree.
contrived. Because she was supposed to be smart, but whatever. Malik, he's
Yeah.
going to play football, and maybe they'll make some episodes about football because they have a championship coming up, and maybe Malik is going to
That
find
was
his
the focus
shine.
of the show, and maybe we'll get back to it.
Find his shine and find a girl.
Very good.
That's it.
Keep working out, Malik. You're looking
And
good.
where's Pookie? Bring back
I was
Pookie.
gonna say, how is he just not gonna be in this episode at all? Yeah, they should definitely bring back Pookie and those nasty sloppy kisses. So on that note, that'll do it for us this week at AfterBuzz TV for BET's The Game. You can follow us on Twitter at AfterBuzz TV. You can follow me on Twitter at Stuart Starlet and Miss.
Follow me at Your Girl Stanley.
And Curtis is probably maybe on Facebook, but if you're not a hot girl, he doesn't want to talk to you. So we love you guys. Make sure you're making those comments on iTunes, shopping on Amazon via AfterBuzzTV.com, and voting for Maria Menounos on Dancing with the Stars. Until next week, we'll see ya.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.